Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. This is a clip from Timcast IRL, and I'm going to show a clip from RFK Jr. after. And Tim Pool comes up with a very interesting scenario. And I've run this scenario by several local Republican friends of mine. I live out upstate New York. I used to be a local elected official as a Democrat in the early 2000s, Republican now for 10 years. And Tim's scenario, I ran by them. And for like, when you ask somebody a question what they think, and 10, 15 seconds go by and they don't say anything, that deafening silence speaks volumes. Let's listen what Tim has to say. It's fascinating, actually.
We get this magical unicorn scenario. RFK runs in the primary. Biden wins. RFK says, I'm not leaving. Trump wins. And then Trump says, RFK Jr., run with me. Let's unite what we're working on together for the American people. What happens if it comes Trump, RFK Jr., single ticket?
A Trump-Kennedy ticket?
That is a power play.
Wild. I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation that RFK Jr. will run as a third party, which will basically have a Ross Perot effect and hemorrhage voters away from Joe Biden. I mean, RFK is a real problem for the Democrats, and, you know, he just has to be not enough of a threat to the Republicans to hemorrhage moderate voters who lean in both directions.
Yeah, if he runs as an independent, he's definitely going to cause a major impact for the Democratic Party. He's going to unintentionally or intentionally.
Now, think about that for a minute. And Donald Trump, RFK Jr. ticket. And there is no law against that. Just because they belong to a different party means absolutely nothing. It might be a rule within their party, but it's not a federal law. Those of you that don't know that Abraham Lincoln picked Andrew Johnson as his vice president. Andrew Johnson was a Democrat, and Lincoln was the first Republican president. I think we've had one libertarian in the past as a vice presidential candidate. Would RFK Jr. take it? I don't know. Let's listen for a moment to a quick clip from RFK himself.
The Democratic Party has become a party of war, a party of censorship, the party of fear, the party of the neocons in crafting our foreign policy, and Wall Street big shots crafting our domestic policies. And I don't think it's good for our country. Listen, I have 7 kids. I want my kids to grow up the way that I did, proud to be an American. I want America to be wielding moral authority around the world. People around the world want American leadership. They don't want bullying, and they know the difference. And I think we should go back to the role that we used to play. Since 2001, since the Iraq War, we've spent $8.1 trillion on foreign wars that have done nothing good for the United States. The Democratic Party.
Now, just think about it for a moment. Just think about the fact that, well, Donald Trump would never ask RFK Jr. RFK Jr. would never accept if it was offered. That's crazy, John. That's just something fun to talk about, or your mind is twisted, or whatever point of view you have. But I want you to think about this for a minute. Say in 2015, in the summer like it is now, it's June of 2015, if someone had told you that Donald Trump, with all his flaws, and he's bombastic and arrogant and opinionated, a billionaire real estate guy from Manhattan, would win the Republican nomination #1 against a field like, what was there, 14 or whatever the hell there was, and then go on to beat Hillary Clinton through basically pull the inside straight. And then COVID came, and I can't go into details on the election of 2020 because this is YouTube. He was impeached twice, Donald Trump, as president. Even after he lost the 2020 election, he was impeached. And, of course, it failed in the Senate because you didn't get the 2/3 that you needed. And then he would be arrested twice after that One charge, a New York State charge, which I'm embarrassed about. I live in upstate New York. And the second one is a federal charge on documents that he had. And if I had told you that in the June of 2015, you would think I needed some serious mental help. Also some serious medication. I mean, if I had said that in 2015, you would have thought that Alex Jones looked like a soothsayer. Now, will this happen? I probably not. But I think it's worth something to consider because these videos, even a small channel like mine, sometimes get legs or they go to the right people. And if Tim Pool had said it, then maybe it will get to the Trump people. One thing that businessmen do, very much like politicians, they have in common is they always keep their options open. It's a common thing for business as well as political people. You never really close any doors. And I think the chances of President Trump, barring some catastrophe, say, if somebody takes him out, and I'll leave it like that because this is YouTube again, RFK Jr. would be the president. Well, that scenario is incredibly unlikely. I put it at less than 10%, maybe even 5%. As far as health concerns go with Trump, I don't think he has many. Yeah, he's overweight, but he's never smoked. He's never drank. He was an athlete throughout his younger years. I think he's in extremely good health for his age. His mind is still sharper than hell. Whether you agree with it or not is a different issue. So RFK Jr. becoming president because of something happening to President Trump, if he wins, is damn near zero. What are the benefits? Well, the benefits are the independents. And those are the votes that are going to swing this election. Make no mistake about it. Those so-called charges and the trials that are coming up for President Trump, none of them will happen before next November's election. The wheels of justice move slowly, especially when you want them to. They can't take the chance that Trump is found innocent on any of the charges, especially the federal one. Especially that. Because that looks like more nonpartisan, at least theoretically, to the American people. So these trials will be extended on. There'll be discovery issues, and they'll go back and forth. And this will be done after November 2024. And if Trump wins, he cannot be convicted as a sitting president. We all know that. So we'll have to wait 4 more years before that's settled. All they're trying to do is tear the guy down. That's what these are all about. But with RFK Jr. as a VP, even though he's a liberal, but I mean that in the old school way, not the progressive Democrat nut bars of today, there's a lot of policies like environmental stuff that I don't agree with him on. But I'll tell you the truth, foreign policy-wise, RFK Jr. and President Trump are pretty much even Steven on what they believe in. And that's a huge deal right there. A vice president could be an ambassador to the rest of the world, making deals, being the president's surrogate. There's a lot of things. Very much like Biden did, but he did a very poor job. But RFK is an intelligent guy. He's smart. He's articulate. And just because he's a Kennedy doesn't mean you automatically write him off. Remember, his uncle was assassinated, the former president, and his father. And he outright said the other day on Joe Rogan, I won't use the government agency, but a U.S. government agency assassinated his uncle. And here's the bizarre part. Nobody said a word. Not even the progressive mainstream media hacks, Fox, Newsmax, basically no one uttered, that's outrageous. Nobody said anything. It's amazing to me. It's kind of like the old school thing that Chicago had a lot of people that were dead that voted for John Kennedy, is why the state swung his way and he won the election against Nixon. Well, nobody's saying that's not true. Everybody just assumes, and probably rightfully so, that it happened. I'm not so sure, but it's just one of those things over time everybody believes. But I digress. I think this is worth considering. Now, would RFK Jr. be better as a third-party candidate, as some have insinuated, or he even kind of implied a couple of times? A Ross Perot type setup, reversed. As we all know, Ross Perot ran twice. Is the only reason why Bill Clinton became president. Will this be the opposite thing? A Ross Perot effect, but affecting Democrats? We'll have to see, but I think it's worth considering. Because there's going to be so much bloodletting in the Republican Party in this primary. It's going to be so ridiculously brutal and savage, because we all know Trump's style. There's going to be a lot of bad blood in the Republican Party. And you're going to have to get votes from the independents, the moderate Democrats, especially suburban independent women are a huge block that Trump is not doing well with. And will RFK Jr. help in that regard? We'll say the Doug and DeSantis people, after the horrible battle of the primary, are turned off from Trump if he wins the primary. They'll pick up votes from the independents and the moderate Democrats, and I believe independent women, if RFK Jr. is on the ballot. So it's not so crazy. We'll have to see. Oh, boy, we live in fascinating, fascinating times. And until next time, God bless and good luck.